Tonight, a look at who is fighting America's war in Vietnam. He is a teenager with the average age of just 19 years old, and he has been sent halfway around the world to fight for democracy in a country that he had probably never heard of until just 6 months ago. He was trained to fight and is now being sent out to look for a war that he would rather not find. Good morning from Vietnam. There's a saying among soldiers here. It's not much of a war, but it's the only war we've got. The enemy hides in the jungle. The peasant ignores it, and the grunt, the American combat soldier, goes out looking for it. They call him Grunt. He is 19, maybe 21. He has been drafted, or he enlisted for one term. His war is a patch of jungle spattered with mud and blood. He has killed a man. His name is Sergeant Paul Corwin of Lakemont, Ohio. Alongside him are Lieutenant James Daly of Omaha, Private First Class Daniel Shaw of Flint, Corporal Richard Haynes of Tulsa, and Captain George Reddick of Minneapolis. These stories could belong to anyone because, in truth, their stories belong to thousands. This is Firebase Jackson, a cluster of sandbags and barbed wire pressed into the mud. Every bunker here has rats. At night, the men sleep too exhausted to notice them. Man and rat coexist. Man too worn down to chase them off, rat too full of garbage to bite. Today, the men are told soda cans will no longer be delivered, as too many empties lie scattered in the fields. The order means nothing. At the garbage dump, local women sell anything from warm soda to marijuana, or even warm flesh. The price is $5. Most agree the marijuana is the safer option. Charlie Company calls Corwin the new guy. This morning, he goes on his first patrol. New guys are watched carefully. Inexperience can get someone killed. Suspicion is sharper in Corwin's case because he has been made a squad leader, and Charlie Company is short on leaders. Too many have been lost to mines and booby traps. The patrol begins across rice paddies, 4 feet of black water, bottomless mud beneath, sucking at every step. After an hour, nothing matters but the next step. If there was racism before, it is forgotten here. The water is alive with leeches, green, black, some half a foot long, sliding beneath trousers, siphoning blood. Halfway through, 2 boys appear, selling Pepsi at 50 cents a can. Proof that the Vietnamese are learning capitalism. Proof also that the patrol has lost its element of surprise. Later, when the boys fail to appear, suspicion grows. That can mean an ambush waits ahead. The line of men struggles across the paddies. They seem desperately vulnerable, too exposed, too slow. Once, such patrols were sent as bait to draw fire. The tactic was said to be abandoned. The men joke grimly that theory and practice are 2 different things. Farmers here work the fields with their backs turned. The Americans might as well be invisible. If a soldier falls, the farmers will not help. One grunt says, "We had a man wounded once, another killed, and the farmers just stood there, watching. They didn't lift a finger to help." The patrol questions a man on the path. By regulation, he is not a Viet Cong if he can show an ID card. He produces one, battered, sweat-stained. The Americans let him go.
No sweat. Take a pop, son. Yeah. No sweat. Yeah.
Moments later, sporadic fire erupts ahead. No one knows whether it's enemy or an ARVN unit maneuvering. No one here wants to find out, so the patrol turns back. Each grunt has a story of times when South Vietnamese allies have opened fire on Americans by accident or sometimes deliberately. Firebase Song, 30 miles north of Saigon, is known as the immersible base. It sinks into the mud when the rains come, which is every night. Here, the Americans and a Vietnamese company share missions. They use the same helicopters, eat the same rations, fight the same war.
We're Americans and they're Vietnamese, and we sort of work things a little bit different than they do, but other than that, we work fairly well together.
Officially, this is Vietnamization, progress together. Privately, many Americans are relieved when they hear the ARVN won't be joining the next mission. Above them, Colonel Sweeney watches from a helicopter, swagger stick in hand. He grades companies on their enemy body counts. The soldiers know the score. Body counts bring rewards, stand-downs, and hot showers. Civilian dead often end up tallied in those numbers. Men grumble that they are measured in corpses. One soldier mutters, "Last time we couldn't get stand down because we didn't kill enough people." On the ground, the men think differently. Private First Class Daniel Shaw says he spends long marches dreaming of home. The snow, the car he'll buy, the stereo he'll set up in his room. Sometimes the weight of rations, rifle, and ammunition makes him want to throw it all down and quit. But when he sits, eats a can of fruit, and smokes a cigarette, things begin to look better. The war drags men down, then offers tiny mercies: a cigarette, a can of fruit, or a memory of home. Up ahead, the company finds an enemy bunker complex, abandoned only hours before. A bat flies from the darkness into the face of a soldier. The medics worry about rabies. A helicopter is called to evacuate him. They find a mine missed by inches. The ceilings are lined with corrugated tin, stamped with foreign beer labels. Cooking pots still warm with fish and rice. The stink of sweat and rot. Sandals cut from tires, left behind in haste. Captain Reddick earns quiet respect from his men. They say he doesn't act like an officer. He carries his own load, takes the same risks, does the dirty work himself. It is the ultimate compliment from grunts who trust no one. 3 days into the jungle, the men are soaked. Their feet bloom with ringworm. Jungle rot climbs their shins. They keep their boots on at night to ward off ants, spiders, and even worse. They button shirts tight against mosquitoes. Few sleep. Some keep watch. Others dream of breakfast. They stumble on another complex. It is deserted. They call in artillery, shells slamming into trees. Later, they find a single enemy soldier wandering near the perimeter. He is shot. One life for 4 days of misery. The men wonder aloud, what sense does it make? Back at base, they get their first showers in 2 months, their first hot meal in 5 days. They laugh at the absurdity of measuring life in body counts. But the reward is real: dry clothes, a meal, a drink. Morale is bought in small installments. This is the grunts' war. It is not the war of the generals who track arrows on maps. It is not the war of the politicians who talk of dominoes and freedom. For the grunt, the war is mud, leeches, dysentery, and the memory of home. Private First Class Shaw says, "Out here, you don't think about democracy. You think about the guy next to you. You think about living another day." Sergeant Corwin admits he doesn't know what they're winning. Maybe we're fighting for pride, maybe just not to let each other down. Lieutenant Daly says, I want to believe it's for the kids here. They didn't ask for this war. They're the ones who suffer the most.
The little kids that have, been suffering the most since I've seen over here. And they're kind of groovy little kids, really. They don't seem to want this war. They don't seem to want us to go.
Corporal Haynes shakes his head. All these people want is land and rice. I don't think they care about communism. They just want to live. Each man grows older in months. They leave as boys, return as men. Though thinner, sadder, harder, their letters home are full of small talk, weather, food, baseball, but between the lines is silence, filled with things they will never say. Some smoke marijuana, but they prefer beer. They think the South Vietnamese army should take over the fighting. They think when that happens, it will fail. And most no longer care. One grunt surviving his year says, "I'll go home. I'll sit down where it's cool, and I'll forget the whole damn thing." In the end, this is what we have learned about the grunt. He is fighting for his life, for his pride, for the friend next to him. He sometimes thinks we are winning, but cannot explain what we will have won. He will come home older with memories that shame him, and words that spill out before he can stop them. This is the composite grunt of Vietnam. He is lonely, he's angry, and he is a teenager.